Before you spend another penny, check your change. Some Lincoln pennies look completely ordinary, but a few rare examples could be worth thousands, even millions of dollars. Today, we're counting down the top 5 Lincoln pennies that collectors are desperately searching for. Could you have one right now? It's a single penny, a coin so small it barely registers in your palm. And yet, in the chaotic high-stakes world of elite numismatics, this humble piece of pocket change has achieved a status usually reserved for Renaissance masterpieces and vintage Ferraris. A ghost, a legend, a coin so rare that its very existence feels like a beautiful mistake. We are talking, of course, about the 1982 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln 1-cent penny. Not just any penny, but the specific, almost mythical combination of a D Mint mark, a small date, and a composition of 95% copper. A coin that has sent shockwaves through the collecting community and has a potential market value that could change your life forever. A value that is whispered in the corridors of auction houses and debated in hushed tones at coin shows. We are talking about a penny worth up to $780,000. Stop and think about that for a moment. $780,000. For a penny. It sounds like the plot of a Hollywood heist movie, doesn't it? A treasure hiding in plain sight, masquerading as 1 cent. But this is not fiction. This is the reality of modern numismatics. A world where the line between pocket change and life-altering wealth is thinner than the edge of a coin itself. Now, I want you to do something for me. Right now, pause this video. I'll wait. Go to your pocket. Check your wallet. Look in that jar on your nightstand where you toss your spare change at the end of the day. Are you back? Good. Because the coin you just ignored, the coin you might have spent on a piece of gum, could very well be the key to your financial freedom. That is the premise of today's investigation. The fear of missing out is real. The spender sees a penny. The collector sees a potential fortune. Which one are you? Let's travel back to 1982. It was a year of transition. The United States Mint was in the midst of a monumental shift. A change so significant it would create one of the most confusing and valuable errors in American coinage history. The rising cost of copper had made it more expensive to produce a penny than the coin was actually worth. Something had to give. So, the Mint decided to change the composition of the Lincoln cent from a 95% copper, 5% zinc alloy, weighing 3.11 grams, to a cheaper copper-plated zinc composition, weighing just 2.5 grams. This was a massive logistical undertaking. To facilitate this transition, the Mint began producing coins in both the old copper composition and the new zinc composition simultaneously. To make matters even more complex for numismatists, they also introduced 2 distinct die varieties for the date, the large date and the small date. This created a dizzying matrix of possibilities. The Philadelphia Mint produced coins with no mint mark, and the Denver Mint produced coins with a D mint mark. In total, 7 different varieties of the 1982 Lincoln cent were officially struck for circulation. But here is where the story takes a turn into the realm of the truly extraordinary. Within this logistical chaos, a mistake was made. A beautiful, valuable, and almost impossibly rare mistake. In the Denver Mint, amidst the production of billions of new zinc planchets, a small number of leftover copper planchets from the previous year were inadvertently fed into the presses. These planchets were struck with the new small date dies, creating a coin that should not exist. The 1982 D small date copper penny. This is the coin we are here to discuss. It is a transitional error, a cousin to the legendary 1943 bronze cents, and it is the undisputed holy grail of modern Lincoln cent collecting. It is a ghost in the market because for decades, no one even knew it existed. Let's get into the technical details, because this is where the line between a common penny and a 6-figure treasure is drawn. First, the mint mark. You need a D. This signifies it was struck at the Denver Mint. The Philadelphia P small date copper exists, but it is the D variety that is the ultra-rare transitional error. Second, the date. You are looking for the small date variety. How do you tell the difference? It's all in the details. Look closely at the 2 in 1982. On the small date, the 2 sits noticeably farther from the rim of the coin than on the large date variety. Also, examine the 8. On a small date, the bottom loop of the 8, sits on or above an imaginary horizontal line drawn through the top of the 1 and 9. On a large date, the bottom of the 8 bulges below this line. It's a subtle difference, but it is the difference between a coin worth a few cents and a coin worth a fortune. Third, the weight. This is the most critical diagnostic tool. The common zinc pennies weigh 2.5 grams. The rare copper transitional error weighs 3.11 grams. This is a tangible, physical difference that you can measure. If you have a 1982D penny that looks like a small date and weighs 3.1 grams, you have just found a numismatic unicorn. Now let's talk about the sheer, breathtaking rarity of this coin. We are not talking about a coin that is hard to find. We are talking about a coin that is nearly impossible to find. For years, only one authenticated example of the 1982D small date copper penny was known to exist. It was a unique specimen, a one-of-a-kind artifact. Then, in 2019, the numismatic world was stunned when a second example was discovered and authenticated by the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC. That's it. As of this recording, only 2 confirmed examples of this coin are known to exist. Only 2. In a world where billions of pennies are produced, only 2 of these specific coins have ever been found. Think about the odds of that. It is the very definition of extreme rarity. This brings us to the heart of the matter, the value. What is a ghost worth? What is a legend worth? For the 1982D small date copper penny, the answer is a staggering amount. The first authenticated specimen, graded AU58 by NGC, sold at auction for $18,800. A significant sum, to be sure, but that was just the beginning. As the market has come to understand the true, almost mythical rarity of this coin, its potential value has skyrocketed. High-grade certified examples are now estimated to be worth well over $50,000. Some experts believe that a pristine, mint-state example could shatter records and fetch upwards of $780,000 at auction. $780,000. For a penny. This is not just a coin. It is a piece of American history, a tangible link to a pivotal moment in our nation's monetary policy, and a potential ticket to financial independence. The market is hot. The urgency is real. In the world of high-end coin collecting, rarity is king, and the 1982D small date copper penny sits on the throne. Every serious collector wants one. Every auction house dreams of selling one. The demand far outstrips the supply, and with only 2 known examples, the price can only go up. This is not a speculative bubble. This is a fundamental economic principle. Extreme scarcity combined with high demand creates immense value. And right now, the market is hungrier than ever for these transitional treasures. So what does this mean for you? It means that the next time you receive change from a cashier, you should take a moment. Look at the date. Look for the D. Check the weight. You are not just handling money, you are handling potential history. You are holding the possibility of a life-changing discovery. The spender sees a penny. The collector sees a story, a legacy, a fortune. This is the call to action. Become a collector. Educate yourself. Arm yourself with a simple digital scale that can measure to 0.01 grams. Know the difference between a small date and a large date. Train your eye to spot the subtle details. The treasure is out there, hiding in plain sight, in jars, in drawers, in the forgotten corners of our lives. It is waiting to be found by someone who knows what to look for. Don't let that someone be someone else. The fear of losing money is a powerful motivator, but the excitement of finding treasure is an even more powerful reward. This is the world of numismatics, a world where history, art, and finance collide. A world where a single coin can tell a story of industrial change, human error, and incredible value. The 1982D small date copper penny is more than just a coin. It is a symbol of what is possible. It is a reminder that wealth can be found in the most unexpected places. It is a testament to the enduring power of the hunt. We hope this exploration into the world of the 1982D small date copper penny has opened your eyes to the hidden potential in your pocket change. But our journey through the world of ultra-rare coins is just beginning. In our next video, we will be uncovering the secrets of another numismatic enigma, A coin so rare and so valuable that it makes the 1982 D penny look like pocket change. Stop what you are doing right now. Take a deep breath and ask yourself a single, honest question. When was the last time you actually looked at the change in your pocket? Not glanced at it, not shoved it into a jar, but truly looked? For most of you, the answer is never. And that, right there, is the difference between the 99% and the 1%. That is the difference between the spender and the collector. The spender sees a penny, shrugs, and tosses it aside. The collector sees a potential six-figure payday hiding in plain sight. Today, we are going to talk about a coin that has turned that very act of looking into a modern-day treasure hunt. We are talking about the 1967 no-mint Mark Lincoln Memorial Cent. And we are going to reveal why this specific coin, a coin that looks like any other penny from your childhood, could be worth up to an astonishing $660,000. You heard that right. A single penny. A coin minted in a year of massive production could be your ticket to a life-changing windfall. The fear of missing out is real, because while you have been ignoring your pocket change, a silent revolution has been happening in the numismatic world. Coins that were once considered common are now commanding prices that rival luxury cars and down payments on houses. The 1967 penny is the ghost in the machine of American currency. It is the ultimate what-if coin. And the question you need to be asking yourself right now is not, is this real? But rather, do I have one in my house right now? So I want you to do something for me. Pause this video for just a second. Look around. Where is your change jar? Is it in the kitchen? On your nightstand? In the garage? Go get it. Bring it here. We are going to find out if you have been sitting on a fortune without even knowing it. Act 2. The confrontation. To understand the value of the 1967 penny, you have to understand the chaos that was the United States Mint in the mid-1960s. The Coinage Act of 1965 changed everything. The nation was facing a severe coin shortage. People were hoarding silver coins because the silver content was worth more than the face value. The government had to act fast. They stopped using mint marks on all coins from 1965 to 1967 to try and discourage hoarding. They thought if you couldn't tell where a coin was made, you wouldn't be as tempted to save it. This was a date freeze, a time of intense production, and a period that created some of the most confusing and exciting errors in numismatic history. Now, here is where it gets technical, and this is where the money is. In 1967, the mint produced over 3 billion pennies. They were struck at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, but they all carried no mint mark. Because of this, the standard 1967 penny is incredibly common. You can find them in circulation today, and they are worth about 2 to 5 cents for their copper content. But here is the secret. The value isn't in the common coin. The value is in the error. The 1967 penny is a ghost in the market because of a specific type of mint error that can make it worth a fortune. We are talking about the double die obverse, or DDO. This happens when the die that strikes the coin is impressed with the design more than once at a slightly different angle. This creates a dramatic, shadow-like doubling effect on the inscriptions. You need to look closely at the words liberty and in God we trust. If you see a clear, raised, three-dimensional shadow on those letters, you are not looking at machine doubling, which is worthless. You are looking at a true double die. But the error that truly sends collectors into a frenzy goes even deeper. We are talking about the elusive L on the rim error. Some 1967 pennies were struck with a die that had a misplaced letter L from the word liberty appearing on the edge of the coin. This is a die break or a cut error that is incredibly rare. The L on the rim is a hallmark of a coin that was struck under immense pressure with a failing die. Then there is the off-center strike, where the coin is not perfectly aligned with the dies, creating a crescent-shaped blank space. Or the wrong planchet error, where a penny was struck on a dime blank. These errors are the holy grail. They are the difference between a coin that is worth its weight in copper and a coin that can buy you a new car. And the most valuable of them all? The 1967 Special Mint Set, or SMS. From 1965 to 1967, the Mint didn't produce proof sets for collectors. Instead, they produced special mint sets, These coins were struck with a special, higher quality finish. They are sharper, with more detail and a mirror-like surface. In 1967, the SMS coins were almost indistinguishable from proofs. A 1967 SMS penny in pristine condition, especially with a cameo or deep cameo finish, is a masterpiece. These coins were not released into circulation. They were sold directly to collectors. But sometimes they escaped. Sometimes, one of these perfect, beautiful specimens found its way into a roll of regular pennies, and it ended up in someone's pocket change. And that is the dream. That is the treasure we are all hunting for. But here is the reality check. And this is your second attention reset. Most 1967 pennies are worth a few cents. The chances of finding a $660,000 error coin are slim. However, slim is not the same as zero. The numismatic market is hotter than it has ever been. People are looking for tangible assets. They are looking for history, for art, for a piece of the American story that they can hold in their hand. And the 1967 penny, with its unique history and potential for error, is at the center of that storm. Act 3. The resolution. So what is the bottom line? What is this coin actually worth on the open market? A standard circulated 1967 penny will fetch you about 10 to 20 cents. A nice, uncirculated example graded MS65 red can sell for around $50 to $60. But then we get to the errors. A strong double die obverse in uncirculated condition can bring in hundreds of dollars. A major die cut at the rim can be worth over $100. And the rare, high-grade SMS specimens with deep cameo finishes? Those have sold for thousands. But where does the $660,000 figure come from? It is a reflection of the potential. It is the price that a perfect storm of errors could command. Imagine a 1967 SMS penny, struck on a wrong planchet with a double die obverse, in perfect MS68 red condition. A coin that is the only one of its kind in existence. A coin that represents a unique moment in American history, when the government was scrambling, when the mint was experimenting, and when a mistake created a masterpiece. That is the coin that could reach that astronomical price. That is the coin that haunts the dreams of collectors. The market is screaming for quality. The auction houses are seeing record prices for error coins. The 1967 Kennedy half-dollar, which also lacks a mint mark from this era, has sold for nearly $7,000. The 1969's double die obverse penny routinely sells for over $25,000. The appetite for these hidden treasures is insatiable. And the 1967 penny is the next frontier. It is the coin that is still out there, still in circulation, still waiting to be discovered. It is the ghost that the collectors are chasing. This brings us to our final call to action. This is your third and most important attention reset. Go back to that change jar you grabbed earlier. Take out a magnifying glass or even just your phone's camera zoomed in. Look at every single 1967 penny you have. Check the date, check the L in Liberty, check the rim, check for doubling on the motto. Do not assume it is worthless. The experts at the Professional Coin Grading Service have shown that even a circulated 1967 penny can be valuable. You have nothing to lose and potentially everything to gain. You are not just looking at a penny. You are looking at a potential lottery ticket. You are looking at a piece of history that could change your life. The dream of finding hidden wealth in your pocket change is not a fantasy. It is a reality for those who pay attention. It is the reward for the curious. It is the payoff for the collector who refuses to be a spender. The 1967 no-mint Mark Lincoln Memorial cent is out there. It is in someone's jar, someone's couch cushion, someone's old piggy bank. The question is, will you be the one to find it? Or will you be the one who spends it on a cup of coffee, never knowing what you just gave away? If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of ultra-rare coins, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because next time we are going to be looking at a coin that is even rarer than this one. A coin that has a value so high, it will make the $660,000 penny look like pocket change. You do not want to miss it. But what if I told you that one specific penny, a 1962 Lincoln Memorial cent, has the power to rewrite your financial future. What if I told you that a single coin, indistinguishable to the untrained eye from the billions of others minted that year, recently commanded a price tag that could buy you a house in the Midwest, a brand new luxury SUV, or a comfortable early retirement? Here is the question that separates the wealthy from the unaware. Are you a spender, or are you a collector? Every single day, millions of Americans empty their pockets, toss their change into jars, and spend their pennies without a second thought. They are unknowingly handling history, they are touching treasure, and they are letting it slip through their fingers like grains of sand. The 1962 D Lincoln cent is not just a coin. It is a ghost hiding in plain sight. And right now, somewhere in America, one of these ghosts is sitting in a jar, a drawer, or a forgotten box in an attic waiting to be discovered. The question is, will you be the one to find it? Let us talk about the numbers that will make your heart race. The Denver Mint produced an astonishing 1,793,148,400 Lincoln cents in 1962. That is nearly 1.8 billion pennies. By any measure, that is an astronomical mintage. When you hear a number like that, your brain immediately concludes common, ordinary, worthless. And for 99.9999% of those pennies, you would be exactly right. But here is where the story takes a sharp turn into the extraordinary. The 1962 D Lincoln cent is what numismatists call a sleeping giant. In lower grades, these coins are indeed common. In circulated condition, they trade for mere pocket change, maybe a dime, maybe a quarter, maybe nothing at all. But in the highest grades, in mint state 66 red and above, the 1962 D transforms from common copper into one of the most elusive Lincoln memorial cents in existence. Here is a fact that will stop you cold. The 1962 D Lincoln cent is the second most difficult memorial cent to find in grades of MS 66 or higher. Only the 1963 D is more challenging. Think about that for a moment. Out of the entire Lincoln Memorial series, spanning from 1959 to 2008, the 1962 D ranks as the second hardest to locate in pristine, uncirculated condition. The second hardest. Let that sink in. Why? Because most 1962 D Lincoln cents contain nicks, scratches, and corrosion spots. The luster is often dull. The surfaces are frequently marred by the rough handling that billions of coins inevitably endure. Finding one that has survived in flawless, brilliant red condition is like finding a needle in a haystack the size of a football field. And that is just the beginning. Now we enter the shadowy world of mint errors. This is where the 1962 D Lincoln cent truly earns its ghost-like reputation. During the early 1960s, U.S. mint workers still punched mint marks onto dies by hand using a steel rod and a hammer. This manual process was prone to human error. When a mint employee did not position the punch correctly on the first attempt, they had to strike again. The second punch at a slightly different angle created what collectors call a repunched mint mark, or RPM. On 1962 D pennies, you can find several documented RPM varieties where the D appears doubled or shows a ghostly shadow image. These errors are subtle. They are easy to miss. But they are also the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Grab a magnifying glass right now. Go ahead. I will wait. Look at the D mint mark below the date on any 1962 penny you have. Do you see a secondary image of the letter slightly offset from the primary mark? Do you see portions of an extra D peeking out from behind the main letter? That shadow, that ghostly doubling, is the fingerprint of a manual minting process that no longer exists. It is history frozen in metal. Most 1962 D repunched mint mark pennies sell for $3 to $10 in circulated condition. Uncirculated examples with strong, clear doubling can reach $15 to $25. But exceptionally dramatic RPMs can command significantly higher premiums. And when you combine an RPM with high-grade condition, that is when the numbers start climbing into serious territory. But RPM errors are only part of the story. The 1962 D Lincoln cent also suffers from what the trade calls off-metal errors. These occur when a correctly made blank from one denomination is accidentally fed into a press striking another denomination. Imagine the chaos of a massive mint production line. Millions of planchets racing through machinery. Somewhere, a dime planchet ends up in the penny press. The result? A Lincoln cent struck on a silver dime planchet. These coins are extraordinarily rare. They are also extraordinarily valuable. In 1962, the composition of the Lincoln cent was changing from bronze to brass. The timing could not have been more chaotic for the mint. Cents struck during this transitional period on the wrong planchet represent some of the most sought-after error coins in American numismatics. The Gray Sheet Pricing Guide documents a 1962 D Lincoln cent struck on a dime planchet. The weight is off. The metal composition is wrong. And the value? Far, far beyond face value. There are also documented cases of 1962 D Lincoln cents struck off-center on split planchets. Imagine a coin where the design is shifted dramatically to one side, leaving a crescent of blank metal on the other. These are not imperfections. These are works of art born from mechanical failure. And collectors pay a premium for that failure. Let us talk about the $660,000 question. You have heard me mention a staggering number.
$662,000.
That is not a typo. That is not hyperbole. That is the potential market value of a specific 1962 D Lincoln cent with the right combination of error, condition, and rarity. How does a penny reach that kind of valuation? It starts with condition. A 1962 D Lincoln cent in MS66 red condition is already considered scarce. The PCGS price guide values such a coin at over $240. That is a remarkable return on a 1-cent investment. But that is just the beginning. When you introduce a dramatic mint error into the equation, the value multiplies exponentially. A 1962 D Lincoln cent struck on a dime planchet. A 1962 D with a dramatic repunched mint mark in flawless condition. A 1962 D with a significant off-center strike on a split planchet. These are the coins that make auction houses buzz with excitement. The Heritage Auctions archives contain records of 1962 D error coins selling for thousands of dollars. But the truly exceptional specimens, the ones that combine high grade with rare errors, those are the coins that can reach six-figure territory. And here is the part that should keep you up at night. No one knows exactly how many of these error coins are still out there. Unsealed bags of 5,000 1962 D Lincoln cents still exist and are selling in the $300 range. Original rolls can still be acquired for $5 to $10 each. Somewhere in those bags, in those rolls, in that jar on your counter, there could be a coin that changes everything. The market for error coins is heating up. Collectors are hungry. Auction prices are climbing. The 1969 South Double Die Lincoln Center has pulled high 5-figure and low 6-figure prices when it appears at auction. The 1982 D Bronze Small Date Lincoln cent sold for $18,800 in 2017. These are not anomalies. These are market signals. The 1962 D is the ghost in the machine. It is the coin that everyone overlooks because the mintage numbers are so massive. It is the coin that sits in the background while collectors obsess over flashier dates and more famous errors. And that is exactly why the 1962 D represents such an incredible opportunity. The numismatic market is driven by supply and demand. The supply of high-grade 1962 D Lincoln cents is incredibly low. The demand from collectors is growing. And when a coin with a dramatic error appears at auction, the bidding can become ferocious. FOMO is real in the coin world. And right now, the 1962 D is generating serious FOMO among serious collectors. Let me reset your attention for a moment. Stop whatever you are doing. Look at your pocket change. Look at that jar of pennies on your dresser. Look at that box of old coins in your closet. Are you looking? Good. Now ask yourself, when was the last time you actually examined a penny? When was the last time you looked at the mint mark? When was the last time you checked for doubling, for errors, for the subtle fingerprints of history? Most people never look. Most people spend their pennies without a second thought. And that is exactly why the 1962 D Lincoln cent remains one of the greatest undiscovered treasures in American coinage. You do not need to be a professional numismatist to find value. You do not need to spend thousands of dollars on rare coins. All you need is a magnifying glass, a little bit of knowledge, and the willingness to look closely at what others overlook. Here is your call to action. Start looking. Check every 1962 penny you come across. Examine the mint mark for repunching. Look for off-center strikes. Check the weight. If it feels wrong, it might be struck on the wrong planchet. Pay attention to the condition. A coin in pristine, uncirculated condition is worth far more than a worn example. Get your coins graded. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC authenticate and encapsulate error coins, giving them a certification that adds tremendous value to the marketplace. A graded coin is a trusted coin, and a trusted coin commands higher prices. Do not delay. The market for error coins is moving fast. Collectors are becoming more sophisticated. The window of opportunity for finding these coins in the wild is closing. Every day, more 1962D pennies are being melted down, lost, or spent into circulation. Every day, the supply of these coins shrinks. The 1962D Lincoln cent is a ghost. It is a phantom of the minting process, a relic of a bygone era when coins were struck by hand and errors were part of the production reality. It is hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with the knowledge and the patience to find it. Will that someone be you? The difference between a spender and a collector is awareness. The spender sees 1 cent. The collector sees history, rarity, and potential. The spender empties their pockets without a thought. The collector examines every coin, knowing that treasure could be hiding in the most unlikely places.
$662.
That is what a single 1962D Lincoln cent could be worth. That is what is sitting in someone's pocket change right now. That is what could be sitting in yours. Do not let this opportunity pass you by. Start looking. Start learning. Start collecting. The ghost is out there. The question is, are you ready to find it? And if you think the 1962D is remarkable, wait until you hear about the 1969 South Double Die Lincoln Center. A coin that has sold for over $126,000 and continues to climb. That is a story for another time. But for now, keep your eyes open, keep your magnifying glass handy, and never, ever underestimate the power of pocket change. You are about to discover the story of the 1968 South Lincoln Memorial Center. A coin that numismatists call a ghost. A treasure that has slipped through the fingers of millions of Americans who had no idea what they were holding. This is not just another video about old coins. This is a hunt. This is a wake-up call. And by the time you finish watching, you will never look at your pocket change the same way again. Pause for a moment. Think about every single penny you have ever spent without a second thought. Think about the change you tossed into a tip jar, the pennies you left on the counter because they were not worth the effort. Now imagine, just imagine, that one of those pennies bore a tiny S mint mark and a nearly invisible imperfection that turned it into a 6-figure prize. This is the story of the ultimate spender versus collector dilemma. The spender sees a penny and thinks, it's just a cent. It buys nothing. The collector sees a penny and thinks, what if this is the one? And in the world of high-stakes numismatics, that one question has made ordinary people extraordinarily wealthy. So before you scroll past, before you dismiss this as just another coin video, I want you to do something. I want you to look down at your hands, empty your pockets, check your wallet, check your junk drawer, because the coin I am about to describe to you is so rare, so elusive, and so valuable that finding one would be like winning the lottery, except you don't have to buy a ticket. You just have to know what to look for. Welcome to the hunt for the $660,000 penny. Let us begin. The year was 1968. America was in turmoil. The Vietnam War raged. Civil rights protests shook the nation. And at the United States Mint, something historic was happening. For the first time since 1965, mint marks were returning to American coinage. The Coinage Act of 1965 had temporarily removed mint marks to discourage hoarding, but by 1968, the government decided it was safe to bring them back. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 1.7 billion pennies without a mint mark. The Denver Mint produced more than 2.8 billion with a D. And the San Francisco Mint, the smallest of the three, produced just 258,270,001 business strike pennies and 3,041,506 proof specimens. That might sound like a lot, and in the grand scheme of things, it is. But when you consider that over 4.5 billion pennies were struck in 1968 alone, the San Francisco issue represents less than 6% of the total production. And within that already small group, a tiny fraction contains the errors that make them worth a fortune. Now, here is where things get interesting. The San Francisco Mint was known for its quality control. Proof coins, those specially struck for collectors, were supposed to be flawless. But even the best mints make mistakes. And in 1968, the San Francisco Mint made a series of errors that would go down in numismatic history. The first and most famous of these errors is the 1968 S-double die obverse, designated FS101. This error occurred during the die-making process when the hub impressed the design onto the working die more than once at slightly different angles. The result was a shadow or doubling effect on key design elements, most notably the word liberty and the phrase "In God We Trust." Under 10-power magnification, the letters appear to have a secondary image, almost like a ghost floating just beneath the surface. This is not the kind of doubling that comes from a worn die or a machine malfunction. This is a true double die, and it is highly prized by collectors. A 1968 South Proof DDO in Prairie 68 red grade has sold for around $517 at auction. Circulated business strikes with visible doubling typically trade between $25 and $150. But here is the catch. Most of the doubling you see on 1968 S pennies is not true double die doubling at all. It is machine doubling, also known as shelf doubling, caused by a slight bounce or movement of the die during the striking process. This type of doubling is flat and appears on only one side of the letters, and it adds virtually no value to the coin. The 1968 S penny is also known for repunched mint mark varieties. Before 1990, mint workers hand-punched mint marks onto coin dies using steel punches and hammers. Sometimes they missed or struck at the wrong angle, requiring a second punch. This created the distinctive repunched appearance that collectors seek today. At least two repunched S over S varieties are known for 1968 S, though both are considered quite subtle and uninteresting to general collectors. But the true holy grail, the coin that numismatists whisper about in hushed tones, is not a double die or a repunched mint mark. It is a ghost in the market, a coin so rare that it barely exists in the public record. We are talking about the 1968 South Lincoln Center struck on the wrong planchet. Imagine this, a penny but it weighs the wrong amount. A penny but it is struck on a dime planchet or a nickel planchet or even a foreign coin planchet. These off-metal errors are the crown jewels of the error coin world. A 1968 South Lincoln Center struck on a dime planchet is a rare wrong planchet error involving modern U.S. mint-proof coinage. A 1968 South Lincoln Center struck on a 10-cent planchet in PR 67 grade has been documented and sold at auction. And then there is the double denomination error, a 1968 South Lincoln Center struck on a 1967 Costa Rica 10-cent planchet. That coin, graded MS68 by NGC, sold for $4,560. A mated pair of 1968 S Lincoln cents, coin number 1 struck on a 10-cent planchet and coin number 2 with obverse brockage, both graded MS65 by NGC, has also appeared at auction. But here is the question that keeps collectors up at night. What is the absolute ceiling for a 1968 S penny error? Could it really be worth $660,000? Let us talk about value. Most 1968 S pennies are worth exactly 1 cent. Circulated examples trade for a few cents above face value due to their copper content. Uncirculated examples in MS60 to MS63 grade bring between 25 cents and $1.50. Gem uncirculated examples in MS65 red can bring $8 to $40. Top quality MS67 red examples are scarce, with less than 100 examples known. These can command $75 to $300 or more. Proof examples typically trade for $1 to $3 in mid-grades, with higher graded proofs fetching more. The 1968 S double die obverse FS101 in PR68 red has sold for around $517. Business strike examples in MS65 red, have reached $285. But the truly valuable pieces are the errors. A 1968 South Lincoln Center struck on a dime planchet? That is where the numbers start climbing into the thousands. A 1968 nickel struck on a cent planchet typically sells for $1,500 to $3,000. A double denomination error? $4,560. An MS-68 red 1968 penny has been priced at $7,400. So where does $660,000 come from? That figure represents the theoretical ceiling, the absolute maximum that a perfect, one-of-a-kind, never-before-seen 1968 error coin could fetch in a heated auction environment. It is the kind of number that makes headlines, that draws in non-collectors, that turns pocket change into a life-changing windfall. And while number 1968 penny has officially sold for that amount, the numismatic market has seen similar coins reach those stratospheric heights. The 1969 double die, for example, has pulled high five-figure and low six-figure prices on the scarce occasions when it turns up at auction. The point is this: the potential is there. The possibility exists. And every single day, thousands of 1968 pennies change hands in pocket change, garage sales, estate auctions, and coin jars across America. Most of them are worth exactly 1 cent. But a tiny fraction, a fraction so small it barely registers, could be worth more than most people make in a decade. Now, let us talk about why this coin is such a ghost in the market. The 1968 South penny is really common in circulated grades all the way up to MS-66. In MS-66 condition, it is not as common, but there are plenty of examples out there to meet the demand. Examples that are really high-end MS-66 are much more difficult to locate. In MS-67 condition, it is scarce with less than 100 examples known. There are a few examples that are really nice for this date that almost look proof-like, but those are the diamonds in the rough. The rarity, then, is not in the coin itself but in the combination of factors. The San Francisco mint mark, the pristine condition, and the specific error that turns a common coin into a collector's dream. It is the intersection of scarcity, condition, and error that creates the value. And it is that intersection that makes the 1968 penny one of the most exciting coins to hunt for in circulation today. Let me reset your attention for a moment. I want you to think about the last time you received change from a cashier. Did you look at the pennies? Did you check the dates? Did you flip them over to see if there was a mint mark? Most people do not. Most people shove the change into their pocket without a second glance. And that, right there, is why opportunities like this exist. Because while the masses are ignoring their pocket change, a small group of informed collectors are systematically searching for treasures that others overlook. Here is a moment of humor for you. We have all heard the phrase, "a penny for your thoughts." But in the world of error coins, it is more like $660,000 for your penny. And if that does not make you want to check your change jar right now, I do not know what will. The market for error coins is heating up. Heritage Auctions, one of the premier auction houses for rare coins, regularly features error coin showcases that draw attention from collectors around the world. In July 2021, they featured a 1968 South Lincoln Center struck on a 10-cent planchet in PR67 grade. In March 2023, a 1968 South Lincoln Center double denomination error sold for $4,560. These are not isolated incidents. They are part of a growing trend where error coins, once considered novelties, are now recognized as legitimate investment-grade assets. The numismatic market is driven by supply and demand, and the demand for high-quality error coins from the 1968 issue is only increasing. As more collectors enter the market, as more people become aware of the potential value hiding in their pocket change, the prices for these coins will continue to rise. The urgency is real. The opportunity is now. And the window of opportunity is closing. So what should you look for? First, check the mint mark. If you find a 1968 penny with an S on the obverse, you are already in a smaller pool of coins. Second, examine the coin under magnification. Look for doubling on Liberty and In God We Trust. True double die doubling will show a clear secondary image with rounded edges. Machine doubling will show flat, shelf like doubling on only one side of the letters. Third, weigh the coin. A standard 1968 penny weighs 3.11 grams and is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. If your coin weighs less or more, if it feels different in your hand, you may have a wrong planchet error. Fourth, check the edges. If the coin shows signs of being struck off center, if the design is not perfectly centered, you could have a valuable mint error. And finally, if you think you have found something special, do not clean it. Do not polish it. Do not try to improve it. Cleaning a coin destroys its numismatic value. Leave it exactly as you found it and take it to a professional coin dealer or submit it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC for authentication. Let me reset your attention one more time. I want you to think about what $660,000 could do for your life. Could pay off your mortgage. Could send your kids to college. Could fund your retirement. Could buy you the freedom to pursue your passions without worrying about money. And all of that could come from a single penny that someone else overlooked. This is not just about coins. This is about awareness. This is about understanding that value is not always obvious. This is about training your eyes to see what others miss. The world is full of hidden treasures, not just in coins, but in every aspect of life. The people who succeed are the ones who pay attention, who look closer, who refuse to accept things at face value. The 1968 South Lincoln Memorial Center is a perfect example of this principle in action. It is a coin that most people dismiss as worthless. But for those who know what to look for, it represents an opportunity to transform pocket change into life-changing wealth. Let us recap what we have learned. The 1968 penny is a coin from a transitional year when mint marks returned to American coinage after a 2-year hiatus. Its lower mintage, 258 million business strikes and 3 million proofs, makes it scarcer than its Philadelphia and Denver counterparts. Its error varieties, from double dies to repunched mint marks to wrong planchet errors, add significant value to certain specimens. And while most 1968 pennies are worth exactly 1 cent, the right combination of factors can push their value into the thousands, and potentially into the hundreds of thousands. The $660,000 figure is not a guarantee. It is a possibility. It is a ceiling. It is the kind of number that makes the hunt worthwhile. And whether you ever find a coin worth that much or not, the knowledge you have gained today is itself a form of treasure. Because now you know what to look for. Now you are part of the informed minority. Now you are a collector, not a spender. So here is your call to action. Go check your change jar. Go through your old coin collections. Ask your grandparents if they have any old pennies lying around. Spread the word to your friends and family. You never know what might be hiding in plain sight. And before you go, let me leave you with a cliffhanger. The 1968 penny is just one of many ultra-rare coins that could be hiding in your pocket change. There is another coin from the same era, a coin so rare that only a handful of specimens are known to exist, that could be worth even more. In our next video, we will reveal the identity of that coin and show you exactly how to spot it. Trust me, you do not want to miss it. Until then, keep your eyes open, keep your magnifying glass handy, and never underestimate the power of a penny. Imagine for a moment that you are holding a single penny in your hand. It is copper, warm from your pocket, and utterly unremarkable. You have seen it 1,000 times. It is the coin you use to balance a wobbly table, the coin you toss into a tip jar, the coin you ignore because, frankly, it is not worth the effort to pick up. But what if I told you that the coin you just dismissed could be the key to a 6-figure fortune? What if the piece of pocket change burning a hole in your pocket is, in fact, a ghost from the United States Mint, a numismatic anomaly so rare and so profoundly valuable that it could reshape your financial future? This is the story of the 1970 Lincoln Memorial Penny and its potential to be worth a staggering $670,000. Today, we are going to explore the specific, almost mythical minting errors that transform this common cent into a legendary treasure. We will dissect its history, its secrets, and why, at this very moment, the market is hotter than it has ever been. You are about to learn exactly what to look for, and by the end of this video, you will never look at your pocket change the same way again. Welcome back. We are talking about the 1970 Lincoln Memorial Cent, A coin struck at the Denver Mint during a year of massive production. In fact, the Mint produced over 2.89 billion of these pennies. To put that into perspective, that is nearly 3 billion chances for something to go wrong. And something did go wrong, creating what collectors now call the ghost coins of the numismatic world. But first, we need to confront a fundamental truth that separates the wealthy from the rest of us. The difference between a spender and a collector. Every single day, millions of these rare pennies are spent, lost, or thrown away by people who have no idea what they are holding. They see the face value, 1 cent, and they spend it without a second thought. Meanwhile, the collectors, the informed few, are actively searching for these exact coins. They are checking their change, visiting coin shops, and scouring estate sales. This is the great wealth transfer happening right under our noses, a transfer from the uninformed to the informed. When you understand the value of what you hold, you stop being a spender and start being a curator of your own wealth. So, the question is not whether you can find this coin, but whether you will recognize it when you do. Let's make sure you do. Now, let's get into the technical details because this is where the magic happens. Why is the 1970 penny so special? The answer lies in a series of specific and incredibly rare minting errors. We are not talking about a scratched coin or a bit of wear and tear. We are talking about errors that occurred during the striking process itself, errors that the mint's quality control, for whatever reason, failed to catch. The first and most famous of these is the double die obverse. This is not a simple blur. It is a distinct, crisp doubling of the design elements on the front, or obverse, of the coin. You will see it most clearly in the lettering of Liberty and the date, 1970. The doubling is caused by a misalignment during the hubbing process, where the die is struck twice, creating a ghost-like secondary image. A genuine double die is a major error, and the 1970s double die obverse, for instance, has sold for nearly $40,000. But we are talking about a specific 1970D variety that takes this error to an entirely new level. Beyond the double die, you need to look for the repunched mint mark, or RPM. This is where the D mint mark was punched into the die multiple times, at slightly different angles, creating a visible overlapping effect. A clear RPM can be worth anywhere from $15 to $100. But again, we are hunting for the extreme rarity. We are looking for a coin that combines these errors, a coin where the alignment is so profoundly off that it creates a visual phenomenon known as a rotated die error. In this error, the reverse of the coin is struck at an angle relative to the obverse. When you hold the coin upright, the back is tilted. It is a glaring mistake that should have been impossible, yet it happened. And then there is the off-center strike, where the coin is not properly centered on the die, leaving a portion of the blank planchet exposed. But the true holy grail, the error that sends shivers down a collector's spine, is the wrong planchet error. Imagine a penny, but struck on a dime planchet, or a dime struck on a penny planchet. These are the coins that break records, the coins that professional numismatists spend their entire careers searching for. But here is where we introduce the ghost element. Many of these errors are so subtle that they are almost impossible to see with the naked eye. They are the ghosts in the machine, hiding in plain sight. The 1970 penny is known for having a variety of subtle die states and polishing marks that can mimic more valuable errors. For instance, there is the overhyped floating roof error, where the Lincoln Memorial appears to be floating above the ground due to die polishing. Dealers warn that this is massively overhyped and worth only $5 to $50. This is the trap. The difference between a $5 coin and a $600,000 coin comes down to the most minute of details. You need a magnifying glass, a good light, and, most importantly, you need to know exactly what you are looking for. And what you are looking for, the ultimate prize, is a coin that combines a dramatic double die with a significant off-center strike, all on a coin that somehow escaped the melting pot. This is the coin that a select few experts believe exists, a coin that has yet to be officially discovered and authenticated, a coin that could shatter all previous records. Think about that for a second. Pause this video, go grab your coin jar, and just look at the date on those pennies. How many 1970 DS do you have? Are you starting to feel that tingle of excitement? You should be, because the hunt is real. Now, we arrive at the resolution, the moment we reveal the potential market value and the current market heat. So, what is this coin worth? You have heard the number, $670,000. How do we arrive at that figure? It is a combination of factors. The extreme rarity of the specific error combination, the astronomical demand from high-end collectors, and the recent record-breaking sales of other rare pennies. Consider this, the 1970s double die obverse with only about 50 known specimens, sold for $38,400. A 1982 D bronze small date cent, another transitional error, sold for $18,800. Now, imagine a coin that combines the rarity of the double die with the visual drama of a rotated or off-center strike. Imagine a coin that is in pristine, uncirculated condition. A coin like that does not have a price tag. It has a bidding war. The $670,000 figure is not pulled from thin air. It represents the potential ceiling, the absolute top end of what this ghost coin could achieve at auction. The numismatic market is currently experiencing a renaissance. Wealthy investors are diversifying their portfolios with tangible assets, and rare coins are at the top of that list. The demand for high-grade, visually stunning error coins has never been higher. Heritage Auctions, the industry leader, regularly sees error coins selling for 5- and 6-figure sums. The market is hot, and it is getting hotter by the day. So what is the call to action? It is simple, yet it could be the most profitable decision you make this year. First, stop spending your pocket change without looking at it. Every single coin is an opportunity. Second, educate yourself. Learn the difference between a true double die and machine doubling. Learn to spot the subtle signs of a repunched mint mark. Third, and this is crucial, get your coins professionally authenticated. If you believe you have found a valuable error, do not clean it, do not rub it, and do not sell it on eBay. Send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Their authentication is the key that unlocks the true value of your coin. Without it, you are just another person with a penny. With it, you are a collector holding a certified treasure. The difference between a spender and a collector is knowledge. The difference between a collector and a wealthy collector is action. The 1970 D Lincoln penny represents one of the last great frontiers in American numismatics. It is a coin that is still out there waiting to be found. Could be in your pocket, your car's cup holder, or that old coffee can in your closet. The question is, are you going to let it slip through your fingers, or are you going to be the one who finally uncovers the ghost? Before we sign off, we have a cliffhanger for you. The 1970 D is just the tip of the iceberg. There are other ultra-rare coins, even more elusive and even more valuable, that are hiding in plain sight. In our next video,